having horrible realizations about myself, and getting eaten alive by mosquitoes with night danger. Immersion is real. I can't believe I'm admitting this. I can't believe that I'm conceding this fact, but I got invited to play in an online game of Mothership with the crew from Random Table. So Dundermoose, Scudder for Mike, Harmony Ginger, and Jack. Jack, whose last name escapes me. McCarthy? It's Scottish sounding. Now, hop over there so the fern doesn't block me. I generally don't like playing RPGs online because I have a really hard time staying on task, focusing. The temptation to Alt-Tab and have something else going on while I'm playing is very potent. The temptation to check my phone, the temptation to draw something in my notebook. It's why I did very poorly with Zoom classes when I was in university and always preferred to be in person. It's why I generally only run games in person. I get distracted when I'm at my computer desk. And I didn't want this to happen when I'm playing Mothership with these people. Oh, goodness. Hey. He's crunching right behind the camera. I don't know how loud that is. Come on. Get out of there. Anyways. And so in the days leading up to playing the game, I thought, how can I minimize this? How can I stay on task? How can I lock in? First thing I did was stimulant abuse. And by that, I mean that I had laid out in front of me on my desk before the call started, I had already made 4 cups of very strong coffee. So that anytime I started to feel distracted, I could pick up the mug, I could take a sip, and when that cup was depleted, I could simply reach for the next one. This did help, but it is not what saved the day. Because we played for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, maybe 4. I don't remember. Time melted away. And I ran out of coffee in the first hour or so. The other thing that I did to try and stay focused was I checked out a couple videos from the 4D role-playing guys. Role-playing in the 4th dimension. The Immersion guys. And I made a couple notes, and I consciously attempted to play the game immersively. This is to say that I did not engage in third-person dialogue, which is to say that rather than, I ask the shopkeeper how much this is worth, I just say, how much is this worth? Whenever dialogue happened, I tried to make it come in from a first-person perspective. I made a point not to check my phone. I made a point not to check, distractions. But I went further than just talking in character. I tried to frame all my actions from the perspective of the character. It's a very subtle language game, but it made an enormous difference. Rather than asking the DM, Mike, who did an amazing job, by the way, incredible, wonderful game master, rather than saying, is there anything in this room? Because this is framed in the language of me, the player, asking something of him, the game master. So instead of saying, is there something in this room? I would say, not my character, not Dr. Mackenzie, the name of my character, but I look around for X. X being the thing I'm looking for. I look around for any evidence of this. I listen at the door and try to discern if what I'm hearing sounds human or not human. These sorts of minor linguistic ploys, which I was doing consciously. I was very aware of the effort and the conscious intention to always frame things from a first-person perspective, from the perspective of my character. I'm not thinking in terms of the game. I'm not thinking in terms of me, the player. I'm not even thinking about meta-knowledge. I'm thinking my character has these characteristics. He would want to do this. He would want to do that. He would be concerned about this. He would be concerned about that. And as long as we were playing, I made an effort not to engage in table talk. I tried not to tell jokes or kibitz with the other players. And this effort to immerse myself in the character was the best role-playing experience I have had as a player in probably 5 years. It really is just one of the best sessions I've ever been a player in. I had an incredible time. And this is why I say I think immersion is real. The activity of pretending to be another person and really taking that seriously, upholding it, and striving to enforce that simulation in your own mind as much as possible. Obviously, I'm sitting in my office chair. I'm not crawling through a depowered terraforming station. Obviously, I'm a handsome and intelligent Canadian and not a 22nd century cryptozoologist. But I cannot deny that the quality of my experience improved, not just because I took it seriously and didn't let myself get distracted, but because I could see in my mind's eye, I could see what was happening before me, and I could conceive of the emotions that my character was feeling. I had empathy for this fictional figure, and it was wonderful. It was so much fun. And it beat any kind of gamist get the ruby dungeon crawling min-maxing that I have historically engaged in. I can't ever go back. I'm going to be playing like this, and I'm going to be approaching the game like this for the rest of my life. It's probably going to change how I DM. And there were a couple little things that I did to assist myself in this process. One of the big things is ahead of time, I gave the character a physical bodily tick of when he's nervous, he chews, he gnaws. If he's got a toothpick or a cigarette, if he doesn't, he has his teeth kind of just. And anytime I started to feel my mind wander, or something really intense or stressful happened in the scenario, I'd roll my teeth around. I'd pull one lip or the other. I'd engage in that physical tick. And it would remind me, right now, I'm not Night Danger. I'm trying as best as I can to pretend to be Dr. Mackenzie. And I think this is a style of play that's probably accessible to everybody. I think anyone can do it if they let themselves, if you allow yourself to be immersed in the character, it is more satisfying than memes. It is more satisfying than talking in a funny voice. Watson, hey, stop kicking leaves right at my camera. He's standing right behind the camera there, digging in the dirt, making a bunch of noise. It's more satisfying than doing a silly gimmick character with a funny voice. Or, oh, what if I played a fighter who was bad at fighting? Like, it's more interesting than playing against type. And it was more interesting simply because I did everything in my power for it to feel real. And this experience of immersion was simply that my decisions, I eventually, after about an hour of practice, the decisions and the thought processes that informed everything that I did, both with my body and with the mechanics of the game, was informed by the character rather than the player. I don't think that you need to hallucinate to be immersed. I don't think that you need to... really, like, epistemologically believe yourself to be the character to be immersed. I think if I was to give a proper definition of immersion and have it not simply be a container word, it is that out of character considerations stop coming to mind. You stop thinking about things that are not relevant to the character you are pretending to be. You may not even believe yourself to be the character. But the questions of mechanics, questions of how are the other players perceiving me, these things fall by the wayside. And you simply make choices based on what comes first to mind. And what comes first to mind is filtered through the character. That's immersion. At least that's my impression of immersion based on my experience with this one session that I found to be genuinely incredible. This has been Night Danger. Signing off. My deepest apologies to Brian Reninger, Fluid the Druid. I think I get it now. I really think I understand what is meant by immersion now. And in a lot of ways, it's the same feeling. It's the same after-the-fact emotional experience of a really, really good jam session. When you're playing with other musicians and you forget everything that is not the instrument in your hands. That sensation, that deterritorialized loss of self is wonderful in short bursts. Obviously, like, don't lose touch with reality, don't neglect your obligations, blah, blah, blah. But that freedom to be outside yourself for a couple hours really is a great thing, and I think it's probably, this particular iteration of it is unique to RPGs in a way that you can't get with movies or books or board games or video games. Yeah. No, that's kind of it. Immersive roleplay is real. I've seen the light. I have big things happening. I'm probably actually going to stream tonight. I have big things happening and finally putting pen to paper on my mystery RPG design concepts. So stay tuned. More stuff will be happening. Night Danger, in the woods. Signing off. God loves you.